You're a regular guy.
Yeah.
You're not an ultra-rich guy. You're not a celebrity. You're a blue belt.
What do you think happens to you when you die?
Hopefully you get the scavenge universe and time travel. Most other coaches put emphasis on the physical work. Hardest work that someone can do is the mental work.
8 miles an hour, how are we feeling right now?
About to have a stroke. We saw as perfect of a fight as you could have seen from Jon Jones. So it all started in this daycare where we had like this little fight club, which would, oh my God, if it happened now, it would be so bad.
If you had a billboard, what message would you put on it?
Don't be a lazy
Welcome to Fast Ones, the show where we ask 10 questions in 10 minutes and we ran from 1 mile an hour to 10 miles an hour. Today, I'm incredibly stoked to welcome our guest to the show, the greatest of all time, no-gi Brazilian Jiu Jitsu fighter, Gordon Ryan. Gordon, welcome to the show, brother.
I'm happy to be here, and I haven't ran in a while. I'm used to fighting, so not running, but hopefully I don't have a heart attack. We'll get through it and it'll be okay.
It'll be great, man. All right, Gordon, tell me about your upbringing and how that led to your choice of career path.
So when I was a little kid, like 6, 7 years old, I had this daycare teacher that never did martial arts, but he always watched UFC. And he would listen to Rogan commentate the submissions, and he would come in the next day and he would be like, oh, here's a Kimura, here's a choke, here's an armbar. And he would like say, hey, try to do these. So we would drill these moves, and then we would all huddle up in a little circle, and we would have like King of the Hill submission matches. And I was just like obsessed with jiu-jitsu and MMA because I was always fighting my friends. And then one day I saw a little strip mall with jiu-jitsu on the outside of the store, and I was like, Mom, I gotta start training there. So it all started in this daycare where we had like this little fight club, which would, oh my God, if it happened now, it would be so bad. But that kind of got me into martial arts, and then from there, I kind of just ran with it from like 15 years old, and then just kept competing.
Incredible. All right, let's bump it. And growing up, who was your favorite fighter, and then who was your favorite all-around athlete outside of fighting?
I really liked George St. Pierre growing up. I really liked Matt Hughes. Like that was my era when like George was fighting Matt. And you know, now like George is one of my best friends, but growing up I always liked Matt just because you know he was like a country boy from America and he was like representing the USA. But you know, those are the two guys for me that I was like, oh my God, it's Matt Hughes. Oh my God, it's GSP. So you know, those are the two athletes, and it was always MMA athletes that I was always looking up to.
Yeah.
And then my first introduction was Royce Gracie versus Keith Hackney. It was like the first UFC fight I ever saw was like
That's incredible.
A Royce Gracie tribute. So that's why I fell in love with jiu-jitsu, because I was like, this is the superior martial art. So it was always like Royce Gracie, GSP, and Matt Hughes growing up for me.
And what do you think is the aspect of your training that, you know, you're the GOAT of no-gi, BJJ. What aspect of your training do you think that you got dialed in that a lot of people overlook?
I really just think that it's Jon. Like, you know, Jon Danaher, our coach, is like the biggest piece to, obviously there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle, but he's the big reason for my success. And just the way that he has us think about the sport, I think is completely different from any other coach.
And how would you describe that, like in a nutshell, like in a sentence or two? How do you think, how's that framing of the sport?
He puts more work or more emphasis on the mental work, which is the hardest kind of work, whereas most other coaches put emphasis on the physical work. And you know, the hardest work that someone can do is the mental work. Everyone's happy to come in and get a strong workout and go home feeling sore. But then when you ask them to sit down and say, oh, hey, think about this armbar for an hour, why didn't it work? Like, no one wants to do that.
Think about an armbar for an hour.
So the mental aspect is really the important stuff.
We're here in New York. It's a really special weekend. We're less than 24 hours out from Stipe, Jon Jones. Our guy Jon Jones won the fight. What did we see last night?
I mean, we saw, you know, as perfect of a fight as you could have seen from Jon Jones. I mean, he barely got hit. He didn't really have any marks. He dominated the striking, which was Stipe's, you know, Stipe wanted to turn it into a boxing match and he lost the striking match. And then, you know, the first round of that fight kind of dictated the rest of the pace of the match. So for Jon, I think it was, he went out, he established dominance early, he held him down, he beat him up, and then he just kind of used that momentum into the second and third round.
So as someone in Jon's inner circle that had a really big part in training him, preparing for him for this fight, what aspect of your specific training did you see shine in Jon's game last night?
I mean, a big thing we focused on was holding our opponent down, making sure once we took Stipe down, he couldn't get up. And there was a few times where he almost did stand up, but Jon made some adjustments and beautifully covered, held him down, and did some good damage in the first round.
Nice. What would you want to see in a future Jon Jones matchup?
I mean, I'm really excited for Jon versus Alex. You know, obviously I know it's between Alex and Tom, but you know, I think that Alex being a 2-division Glory kickboxing champion, the 2-division UFC champion, and a guy who I have no idea how he made 185. That guy is so massive. Like, he's really like a heavyweight. So, you know, he walks around, I think, at like 240. Him and John are relatively similarly sized, and he's just so accomplished, and giving him a chance to be a 3-division, the first ever 3-division UFC champion, I think would be pretty cool.
That would be a cool fight, yeah. Also this weekend we saw another fight. We saw Jake Paul, Mike Tyson. Do you think that was net good for combat sports? Why not?
I mean, I think it's bringing eyes to combat sports, and eyes are always good. You know, I never met Mike. I know Jake personally, so when you talk to him, he's him and Logan, they know what's going on. They know how to make money. They know how to play the game. So I think the more eyes overall on combat sports, the better.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't give them credit for like how good they are at promoting the art of the game and just the marketing all around it. It's not easy.
Oh, like, it's not, and they do well, and they completely changed career paths.
Yeah.
They went from YouTubers to fighters.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy what they've done.
Yeah. We see in combat sports, and specifically in BJJ, a lot of hyper intelligent people like Mark Zuckerberg, Lex Friedman get drawn into the sport. Why do you think that is?
Number one, it's a never ending puzzle. You can there's always something to improve upon, and it's very methodical.
Yeah.
And number two, when you're on those mats, you're a regular guy.
Yeah.
You're not an ultra rich guy, you're not a celebrity, you're a blue belt.
And having $1 billion in the bank isn't gonna help you get out of an armbar.
And I think that really puts everything into perspective for people who are celebrities or people who are ultra rich.
Yeah.
It kind of normalizes things again.
What was your first big breakthrough? Like, when did you realize, yo, I got that dog in me, I'm him?
2016 EBI, when I first got my black belt, and I submitted an ADCC medalist and the reigning champion. So 2016 was like my big breakout year.
Nice. What's the biggest risk you've taken in your career?
I gave Felipe Pena, you only got to beat me twice at black belt, and you only got to submit me at black belt, 10-1 odds on a bet match. And I bet my 100,000 against his 10,000.
Nice. Dude, that's a big conviction play.
Yeah.
All right, let's bump it. And let's take a shot of ketones. You've been taking ketones for some time, since way before we met.
Yeah.
Why? Like, what is it that clicks for you about ketones?
Because of my stomach issues, I can't really take caffeine without it making me so nauseous, so super nauseous. But the ketones can keep me focused without the caffeine and without the nausea.
Yeah.
So it's one thing where, like, if I'm tired, I can't drink caffeine.
Yeah.
I can drink the ketones without the caffeine.
Cool. Glad it's helping you out. Okay, look at this photo here. What's going on with all the ladies on your Instagram? Maybe tell us a little bit about Toe Hold.
So Toe Hold is a flip-flop company mainly that I own, and we have like 1980s marketing.
Yeah.
We're just right out of the 80s, guns and hot chicks.
Yeah, sick. Okay, let's bump it. Gordon, if you had a billboard, what message would you put on it?
Don't be a lazy
Great. At 8 miles an hour, how are we feeling right now?
about to have a stroke.
Actually, we're at 9 miles an hour. We're doing good. This is the second to fastest level. Okay, what type of non-fighting training do you do?
Weightlifting,
Yeah.
bodybuilding, weightlifting.
Cool. Okay, what do you think happens to you when you die?
Hopefully you get the scavenged universe and time travel.
Yeah, you're a super intense fighter. What's the most off-brand thing about you?
I love researching space and cars.
Oh, cool.
I like space, black holes, anything space related.
Do you think there's aliens?
There has to be somewhere.
Yeah, you can't not be.
Yeah.
You have 102 wins at black belt. Which one are you most proud of and why?
Probably Andre Galval. He was considered the GOAT of ADCC. It's the biggest match ever. My best performance ever.
Cool, yeah, that was a good one. Let's ramp to the final level here, 10, and this is gonna go rapid fire. Okay, what's top of your music playlist?
Anything rock and roll, Led Zeppelin.
What's the best bone to break?
Either the humerus, probably the humerus and the arm. I mean, for me personally, to break somebody else's arm.
And what's the worst bone to break?
Spiral fracture of the humerus is pretty tough.
Jeez, yeah. Okay, what's your go-to emoji?
The laughing emoji.
What's the best chokehold?
A rear naked.
What would your last meal be?
Sushi by Scratch in Austin, Texas.
And what comfort TV do you go to watch?
Anything funny, relaxing.
What are you afraid of? Are you afraid of anything?
I can't do, I have a phobia kind of throat cultures at a doctor's.
Yeah.
My gag reflex is so bad.
Yeah. Those are pretty gnarly. Okay, steak or sushi?
Sushi,
Mountains or beach?
mountains,
Coffee or tea?
tea,
Sweet or salty?
salty,
Dogs or cats?
dogs,
Would you rather have the ability to fly or the ability to be invisible?
fly.
All right, that's a wrap.
Thank you.
What's up, brother? You've been fighting, Gordon, for the last 8 years. What's the next 8 years hold?
The next 8 years, depending on my health, obviously, which is always the biggest thing, I want to keep competing. So if I can get my stomach healthy and my knee right now better, we'll just keep competing all the way, hopefully through 40. If that's not the case, then I'm gonna make a transition from hopefully being the greatest competitor ever to the greatest coach ever. And so I think having the coaching debut with Jon Jones wasn't a bad start.
Not bad, bro. Yeah, and pay it forward. I mean, that's the most beautiful thing you can do. Let it flow through you. The universe gave it to you. Give it on to the next generation.
There's nothing better than teaching moves to someone and then watching them apply it at a high level against a talented and resisting opponent. So just watching him go out there and do the things we went over in training and keep Stipe pinned was like, I was more happy for him than I was winning anything myself.
That's very humble and low ego to say that. Respect. What else to shout out? You got a few things going on outside of combat sports. What else? Anything else you want to shout out, plug?
Yeah, just bought a little piece of toe hold. World's strongest flip flops. They're some of the world's most expensive flip flops, but they're 100% American made. We ethically sourced the leather, and these things are basically indestructible. So toe hold definitely great.
I'm excited to check out a pair.
For those, and then if you follow Instagram, there's hot chicks and guns. So if you're into those, it's great. And then if you are doing jiu-jitsu, I like to believe I have the world's best instructionals at BJJ Fanatics. So my instructionals are very liked by the jiu-jitsu community. And then I have my YouTube channel, which is a combination of all the things I do in life. It's Gordon Loves Jiu-Jitsu. Same with my Instagram. And then if you're in Austin, Texas, we'll be opening up our school soon, our jiu-jitsu school.
What's it gonna be called?
Kingsway Jiu-Jitsu.
Cool. Anything else?
I think that was good. I didn't have a heart attack, so that was great. It was close, but everyone's like, oh man, his cardio is so good, he never looked tired in matches. Yeah, it's because I'm more efficient, but my actual cardio is terrible.
Dude, I mean, you faked it pretty good. We've seen it a lot worse. Thanks everyone for listening into this episode. The best thing that you can do is smash that subscribe button, share this episode, share the show with a friend, and check us out, Ketone-IQ. You can find us at ketone.com. You can also find us at Vitamin Shop and stores all around the country. And when you scan the QR code on any bottle, your first shot is free. We want you to try it out. You're gonna have an awesome time. Special thank you, shout out to Temple Gym here in New York City. They are world class. Check them out if you're in town. Thank you, Temple, for hosting us.